Welcome to Communication Application / Public Speaking. This chapter is entitled Introduction to Public Speaking, Audience-Centered Speaking Process. So, again, if you need to move forward or back or pause the video, feel free to. And the notes are available on Canvas and should help you follow along and study for any tests that you will have in the future. So why study public speaking? Public speaking, there's the definition, the process of presenting a message to an audience, small or large. We want to empower you, which means to have the resources, information, and attitudes that allow you to take action or achieve a desired goal. Our desired goal is to get you in front of people to speak with confidence. We're going to empower you with competence, which is adequately in possession of required skill, knowledge, qualification, or capacity. Confidence, full trust, belief in powers, trustworthiness, or reliability of a person or thing. When regarding employment, public speaking is considered a key to success and is a top skill valued by employers. Communication process. Public speaking is more prepared than conversation. You usually know in advance if you are to give a talk on a specific occasion. A public speaker may spend hours or even days planning and practicing. It's more formal than conversation. The casual language we often use in conversation is not appropriate for public speaking most of the time. Nonverbal communication from public speakers is also more formal. Every presentation you'll be giving in this class, as far as a speech is concerned, will be considered a formal presentation. Public speaking has clearly defined roles. In public speaking, the roles of audience and speaker remain stable. Some cultures allow a call and response speaker-audience interaction. So first we start off in public speaking with a source, who is the speaker, the source of information and ideas for the audience. Speaker encodes information, translate ideas into verbal and nonverbal symbols or codes an audience can recognize. The message, which is a speech itself, both what it is said and how it is said. The message needs to be decoded by the audience, which means to extract meaning from. These are all definitions again. Verbal and nonverbal decoding happens. Message is sent through a channel, a route through which anything passes or progresses, a means of access. The message is received by the, obviously, receiver. The individual audience member whose decoding of the message will depend in their particular blend of past experiences, attitudes, beliefs, and values. Noise, regarding public speaking, is anything that interferes with the communication of a message. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 definitions on that page. And noise can be either external and internal. We'll talk about what that is later. Communication as interaction. Feedback, a person's observable response to stimuli or stimulus, can be verbal or nonverbal signals. The context of the public speaking is the environment or situation in which the speech occurs. The situation. Communication as transaction. Individuals send and receive messages concurrently. When you are listening, you are also expressing your thoughts and feelings non-verbally. An effective speaker should not only be focused on the message he or she is expressing, but also tuned in to how the audience is responding to the message. A good public speaker shouldn't wait until the speech is over to gauge its effectiveness, but because of the transactive nature of communication, the speaker should be scanning the audience during the speech for nonverbal clues to the audience's reaction. And this is a chart of the communication and interaction process. On the left, you start with a source who sends a message through a channel. It's affected by external or internal noise, which we see as the arrow coming down from the top. The message is then acquired by the receiver, and the receiver in turn sends feedback to the original source. Communication is circular not linear. That's something to remember. Rich heritage of public speaking in Western history. The 4th century rhetoric, Greek Republic, Aristotle made guidelines. Poets in ancient Rome, Cicero and Quintilian defined qualities of a true orator. We'll talk about them later. In U.S. history, patriots for the U.S. States' rights, women's suffrage, gave lectures as entertainment and fight for whatever causes they were aiming for. The practice of declamation and practice of elocution have taken place in U.S. history. There's a definition. Declamation is the exercise in oratory, as in the recitation of a classic speech. Elocution, a person's manner of speaking or reading aloud in public. So declamation is the exercise in what you do, and elocution is how you do it. Those are both definitions. Radio and television are more modern public speaking today. Soldiers may speak to their family or to a group of soldiers from across the country via the streaming video. Similarly, classes can be addressed over the internet like it's being done through this video. So Aristotelian rhetorical proofs, which include ethos, pathos, and logos. I'm sure you've heard of those before. If not, well, I'll give you a brief overview of what they are. You will be tested on these, though, guaranteed. Ethos, a person's credibility, their trustworthiness, their authentication, their reputation. It is the most important element of persuasion, having some sort of expertise. There is a famous quote that says, "What you are screams so loud that I can't hear what you say." What you are screams so loud I can't hear what you say. It's the concept of why some people are believed and others not. There's 3 things that build good ethos. Good character. Are you moral? Do you know the difference between right and wrong and you choose to do what's right? Do you have a good background? Good sense. Do you have common sense? The thing about common sense is that it's not that common. Are you wise? Do you not just do you have knowledge, but are you able to apply that knowledge effectively? That's what makes you wise. Goodwill. People say, I care more about the people than I do about me. Do you serve public trust? That's ethos. Pathos. Emotional proofs. Path means, anytime you see path, think of emotional interests. It's hard to beat an emotional argument. Let's go back to this real quick. It's hard to beat an emotional argument. When a baby needs something, what does it do? And it's answered and it's responded to appropriately and effectively. Next, logos, the logical argument. What makes sense? Statistics, information. Let's talk about logos real quick. Logos is information, knowledge, how we apply it. So let's look at ethos, pathos, and logos with regard to artistic and inartistic proofs. And here's the chart. Anything that's inartistic is real. So credibility or ethos, real things that you've done that give you credibility, are things you've done or your accomplishments. Inartistic or real things that might inspire emotion or pathos, something historical, something that's happened in your past that inspires real emotion. Logos or information, things that are real, factual cases, data that prove what you're trying to persuade people about. Let's look at artistic or not real. Ways of producing credibility or ethos. Someone's seen something. You can fool someone into believing something and gain credibility by being artistic. You can change the way you dress, change your accent, a variety of things you can change to make someone believe that you're something you're not and get credibility that way. Next, pathos or emotion. If you're going to be trying to persuade someone using emotion, artistically, you can use something like a hypothetical question. Projecting circumstances. How would you feel if your teenage son or daughter died in a drunk driving accident? It hasn't happened, it's hypothetical, but it still can cause them to respond emotionally. Next, logos, information. If it's used artistically to persuade somebody, so if you're going to use logos or information in an artistic way, in order to gain credibility, artistic is false, so you're going to be talking about future projections, things that haven't happened yet, based off, we sold this many products last year, so in the future we anticipate selling however many products. It hasn't happened yet, but you're making future projections. So Cicero, this was the first person to use humor in oratory. He studied Aristotle, developed the idea of the 5 canons of rhetoric, and these are important. They're going to be around. They've been around for a long time. You need to know these. The first one is invention, creativity, using a creative approach, being able to come up with new ideas about topics. Arrangement, the organization of your topics. What order are you going to put things in? Chronological order, that's an example. Order of importance. Next, style, your unique linguistic style. Mumbling is not a style. You need to develop your own linguistic style. Delivery, nonverbal speech presentation, your presence, how you dress, how you choose to look when you're standing in front of people affects your delivery. It affects your influence and persuasion. Memory, knowledge of the topic and knowing it well enough to not need notes. Can you speak in front of an audience for 5 minutes, not needing note cards, needing help, needing to look at notes? It's an important aspect of your credibility as a speaker. So Cicero and Quintilian developed a system of rhetorical training. Quintilian is quoted as saying, "The most persuasive man in the world is a good man speaking well." They were charged to raise the children of rich people in ancient Greece to become great orators or lawyers. This is when they had to defend themselves in front of a court. They started with storytelling, describing how things are put together, reciting poetry, literature, other people's speeches, and educated themselves for future references. They practiced informational speaking, informational impromptu, mind connection and memory, persuasive speeches, debate, law, nature versus nurture. This concept is about genes versus environment. Are you born with the ability to speak in front of people, or do you have to work at it? Some people have a natural ability, some people have to work on it. The question I want you to consider is which one of those people will value that gift more? The person that's born with it, or the person that has to work hard for it? Extroverts or introverts? Are you born talker or are you born quiet? Each one of us is uniquely gifted that way. It established that speakers must have a measure of assertiveness, not aggressiveness, just assertiveness. They need to conquer their communication apprehension, which is a fear of communicating in groups. Shyness can be a positive thing. How do you think shyness can be a positive thing? Think about it. There's the rhetoric of understanding versus the rhetoric of winning. The rhetoric of understanding means I'm going to present this information to you in order for you to understand what I'm telling you. The rhetoric of winning is I'm telling you this so you believe what I say, and so for you to think that I'm right. So consider that. States versus traits. Audience-centered public speaking. Consider your audience. In designing and delivering your speech, always make choices with your audience in mind. Your selection of topic, purpose, and even major ideas should be based on a thorough understanding of your listeners. Gather and analyze information about your audience. What do you already know? How many freshmen, how many sophomores, how many juniors, how many seniors are in your class. That might influence the way you speak. Consider the culturally diverse backgrounds of your audience. Culture is not only ethnicity. Select and narrow your topic. Determine what you will talk about and limit your topic to fit the constraints of your speaking assignment. One of the most important things you can do to be an effective speaker is to start preparing your speech well in advance of your speaking date. Determine your purpose. First of all, you have a general purpose, which is the overarching goal of your speech. Speaking to inform, that's one of the general purposes, is to teach, define, illustrate, clarify, and elaborate on a topic. Speaking to persuade is seeking to change or reinforce listeners' attitudes, beliefs, values, or behaviors. It's a persuasive presentation. And speaking to entertain. The key to an effective entertaining speech often lies in your choice of stories, examples, and illustrations. So there's three general purposes. Again, there's to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. Those are the only three types of presentations. You need a specific purpose, and there's a definition. A concise statement indicating what you want your listeners to be able to do, remember, or feel when you have finished your presentation. Develop your central idea. Your central idea identifies the essence of your message. Think of a one-sentence summary of your speech. Generate the main ideas. These are the major divisions of your speech or key points that you wish to develop. Does the central idea have logical divisions? Can you think of several reasons why the central idea is true? Can you support the central idea with a series of steps? Gather supporting material, facts, examples, definitions, and quotations from other credible people that illustrate, amplify, clarify, and provide evidence. If you have a question about what is credible, what is considered credible, let me know. Ask me, and I'll tell you what credible is. If a speech is boring, it is usually because the speaker has not chosen supporting material that is relevant or interesting to the audience. Supporting material should be personal and concrete. If it's personal, it supports your ideas with stories based on your own experience. If it's concrete, it's relating abstract statistics to something tangible that can help to communicate your ideas more clearly. So not just theory, real-world concepts that are concrete. Develop your research skills using electronic and library sources or internet, TV, radio, for example, illustrations and quotations. Gather visual supporting material. Seeing is believing. People believe what they see, not just what you tell them in a presentation. Almost any presentation can be enhanced by reinforcing key ideas with visual aids. An example is a PowerPoint presentation like the one we're looking at right now. Organize your speech. A logical structure helps you feel more in control of your speech, and greater control helps you feel more comfortable while delivering your message. Organize your speech. A logical structure helps you feel more in control of your speech, and a greater control helps you feel more comfortable while delivering your message. Divide your speech. Introduction helps capture the attention, serves as an overview, and provides audience with reasons to listen to you. And there's a body, presents the main content of your speech, and the conclusion summarizes your key ideas and is a restatement of the main idea. Again, restating what you said in the introduction. Restatement of main idea. Outline your speech. Indicate your major idea with Roman numerals for major ideas. Use capital letters for your supporting points. Arabic numerals for further subdividing ideas. For every formal presentation you will give in this class, you will need to turn in an outline using Roman numerals and capital letters. Consider presentation aids, visual aids, audio clips. Rehearse your presentation. Rehearse it aloud. Don't just read it while you're lying in bed. Stand as you will when you will deliver your speech. Try to find a comfortable way to phrase your ideas. Don't necessarily try to memorize. Rehearse until you can discuss your main ideas and supporting material on your own without any help. You may use notes to a certain extent, but public speaking instructors limit the number of notes you can use. It could be a note card, a single note card. Practice making eye contact. Stay away from nervous gestures, rocking back and forth, tapping on the podium. Don't just focus on a particular part of the room. You need to look at your audience, not look up at the ceiling, not look down at the podium. Make decisions about the style of your speech, the words you choose and the arrangement of those words, which is syntax. There's a definition: the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. Some audiences prefer simple and informal, and some grand and highly poetic discourse. What is appropriate for the audience you are addressing? You're going to be addressing a college-level class. So what's appropriate for that audience? Deliver your speech. Establish eye contact with your audience. Smile naturally. Deliver your attention-catching opening sentence. Use a conversational style to help establish rapport. Lastly, be sincere, be brief, and be seated. Be sincere about what you say. Don't stretch things out longer than they need to be, but reach your time limit, as will be assigned, and be seated. Finish it. So, this concludes Introduction to Public Speaking, specifically audience-centered speaking process. Again, you will have a test over this material. Feel free to go back and watch as many times as you feel are necessary. And the notes, again, are available on Canvas to help you study. Have a good day.